The Pacers, I think, are one of the more underratedly fascinating teams of this coming season because I think there's a tendency to look at what they did last year as sort of fluky. And it's not necessarily to discredit what they did because naturally you can only take care of business and do what's in front of you and play who's in front of you, and that's not their problem. But naturally, there is this argument of if Milwaukee was healthy or if New York was healthy, Indiana wouldn't have necessarily did what they did. They wouldn't have gotten to the conference finals. So you think of that, you think about how those two teams are most likely going to come into this season and have better health luck than they did last year. You factor in that Philly upgraded with Paul George, and you hope, and you can't really assume with them, that they're going to be healthy as well. Boston's obviously still there. You have Cleveland, Orlando's rising. So you sort of think like, I don't know if Indiana, like, yes, Indiana got to the conference finals, and that's an incredible accomplishment. And naturally, you always want to be moving forward and trying to build off your accomplishments of the previous season. But I think there is this tendency to wonder, okay, how likely is it for Indiana to try and get back to that same point and try and build off that and maybe like be more competitive in the conference finals, or, obviously their goal is to break through to the finals. I think there's a lot of hesitancy to believe that they can do that for one reason or another. And I'm not necessarily going to sit here and tell you I think they can do that or that it's likely, because I do think there are a lot of teams in the East that are still better than them, assuming everyone's relatively healthy. But what I do find fascinating about the Pacers is that despite having all this luck work in their favor last year and getting to the conference finals, this team still has so much room to grow. And you could, like, there's still just so much, like, area where you could see, like, oh, there's so much growth. Like, I don't think they've reached their ceiling. We've looked at everything last year. Like, for example, Tyrese Halliburton missed his 13 games last year and didn't look as explosive as when he returned. Like, in the first chunk of the season, like play-in tournament, all that stuff. Sorry, not play-in tournament, in-season tournament. Like, this dude was averaging like 25 and 10 on like insane shooting splits. But then he goes down, comes back. It's still really good, but it just didn't quite look the same. So hopefully he becomes healthy. Benedict Mathurin was a 15-point per game scorer last year who missed a large chunk of the season and then missed the entirety of the playoffs. Having him back as a scorer, whether it's in the starting lineup or off the bench, like, that's going to be big. And also, like, to see what he does in year 3, that's also going to be massive. You get a full year of Pascal Siakam. Obviously, he comes in midseason. Integrating guys midseason always has its growing pains, especially a guy as talented as Pascal Siakam. Now you have a full year, full off season, full training camp to develop the chemistry and the game plan and all that stuff. And that's going to work wonders for both Siakam and the Pacers as a whole. You're going to have the development of guys like Andrew Nembhard. Remember, breakout playoff star of last year, signed a contract. Jarris Walker, top first-round pick of them. He's definitely going to take some more steps. So you just see, like, there's all these rooms of growth for the Pacers, and I don't know what it's going to result in, but I do think this idea that the Pacers, just sort of, struck while the iron's hot, and then that's it. Like, we're not really going to hear from them again. I don't think it's true. I don't know if that means they can be a top 4 team in the East. Would it surprise me? Honestly, I mean, Boston, Philly, Milwaukee. Okay, it would surprise me a little bit considering how top heavy the top of the East is. But I just think like that wasn't like a fluke. That wasn't like a one shot thing. Like, see the opportunity. Like, yes, they got lucky and they did sort of strike while the iron is hot. But I don't think it's the last we're going to see of the Pacers, because I think the team that they have still has so much more room for growth and improvement and things to work more in their favor. And I'm very intrigued to see how that plays out in the coming season.